Hello, everybody, and welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch. You guys can't see anything. You can see something now. Okay. So while I'm down there, it sounds like it's raining. But up here, I'm not seeing anything. Like, there's no rain or anything. I wanted to take a second to look around and see if there's anything new to speak about in the house. I highly doubt that there will be, but I did want to check. Considering we've gone through a couple of stories at this point. No, we're not going to go investigate the garage again. That needs to close. Okay. Ah.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Oh, no, I'd already done that. I'd already done that. Oops. See, it sounds like it's raining when I start walking in here. No, the rain sound's gone. So I guess... Who knows? I'd personally, considering I just read a story, where a family member of mine came down here and was then murdered that same night, I would personally, grab, I'd grab that pool stick right there. Like, pool stick's not going to be the best weapon.
Mom said the
still.
basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Oh, come on. Threatening your kids with tetanus shots, that's rude. That's real rude. Don't do that. But honestly, like, I guess it makes sense. You don't want your kids going down into the basement, so... You tell them that if they go down there, they get another tetanus shot, which makes sense.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Carrying packages. I'd assume that'd be for, like, Christmas or something. Settings! Brightness. Max. That did barely anything. That really did barely anything. I'm kind of surprised. I need to check something. Where's my phone? Okay, I just needed to check that I was actually live. Or else I was gonna have to find a way to load the game back.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Was she?
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Holy crap. So I just turned on the lights now. Interesting. Yeah, I'd say she's definitely hiding a lot more than just presents. At max brightness, this looks hideous. So I'm gonna put it back down to half.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories,
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
A radio? That's what that sounds like. All I know is that says pepper, so I'd assume these are all spices. But I could be wrong, considering this looks like a kitchen. We need to investigate a bit more thoroughly before we click on anything that seems like it might activate a story. Because last time I clicked on something that activated a story, everything disappeared. That looks like it might activate a story if I investigate it. So, we'll click on this. No, this activates a story. Walter, 19.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane.
Are you really sane?
Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
That's
But if you wait
sort of
long enough,
disappointing.
you get used to anything.
Another one?
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal.
Yeah, if you
Almost friendly.
wait long enough, literally anything can happen.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Enough peaches to last 30 years.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
A week without any
I'm
food.
done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Wait, Walter was Barbara's boyfriend, wasn't he? If I remember correctly? Or, I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that.
I know it's out there, somewhere.
What is?
Whatever killed Barbara.
Yeah, so he was Barbara's
Molly.
boyfriend.
And Calvin.
Okay, I don't want to jump into the pit in case it doesn't work.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day,
Hello, Timothy.
even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food.
A man who's been eating peaches for 30 years would definitely say that.
I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Oh!
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
I can believe it. It is... Man, I really should turn up
I'm
the
sure my
sensitivity.
mom was trying to protect me.
What does that truthfully mean? We all say we're always trying to protect someone, but does that term really mean what we think it means?
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two,
Maybe. No.
I
Walter
thought it was
died.
time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone else.
It appears they all
But
died.
now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
So, we are Edith here. Well, Edith Jr. We are coming back to our old family home and reading the stories of and living the final day of every family member that is now dead. These are the ones that we went through in the first two parts of this. These four. And this is the guy we just went through. So, it's a story about stories. The last story that all of these family members ever told. The stories that apparently Edith's mother tried to hide from her. 1952 to 2005. There's no train anymore.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Who knows?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
A
But I thought you should know about your family.
Oh.
And the history you're a part of.
So, we just got more information. It's both sad and enlightening, because it puts a new perspective. If you think about all the odd stories that your family has ever told you, this type of game can put an interesting perspective on those. Because, for example, there's one where she talks about Grandma could have told... Grandma told everybody that, I don't remember his name, died... Like, I don't remember his name. Died, fighting a dragon. She could have told people that he died, by... being crushed by a dragon's shaped slide that he was building. But she didn't.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
I'm always lost.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Any number of stories can mean something, as long as the individual who tells them believes what is said. Okay, so I have to go over here. Instead of whatever I was trying to do. Oh no! Staircase! See, I'm always lost. I am always so lost. Actually, I think that's because I got my head turned that way, so by the game. And it's been a very interesting game to go through this entire time. Like, I love narrative-driven stories.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
I always wondered what's the point of a latch like that. But I guess it's just to prevent the wind from blowing it around.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
As Walter said, any number of things can, given enough time, can become the norm. A treehouse. Is there something in the treehouse, I wonder?
What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
The type that has more people to bury than they can hope to get around to. So maybe we'll go around and get to the treehouse?
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
Sorry, trying to fix the face cam. It's not working out too well. The pet cemetery I can understand it being uncomfortable. With the human one, especially in this family, it seems like they knew each other, but at the same time, they were kind of distant. The pets, on the other hand, are, well...
3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Oh. That would definitely be uncomfortable. Bailey, 1959 to 1972.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Molly Finch, born December 11th, 1937, died December 13th, 1947. Calvin Finch, Sven Finch, Edie Finch. Keep in mind this is Edith Sr. Yes, I'm, actually, currently while we're playing this, we're taking a break from Dark Souls 2. Walter Finch. I don't know much about Walter, so I don't know what, that's supposed to mean. Barbara Finch. A crafter, a storyteller, a man who wanted to fly, a young girl who dreamed of being a cat. Don't know anything. I don't remember much about Walter, and someone who saw
I'm
it
sure
started.
Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
Don't forget the past. Don't try and forget the past.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie
Oh.
said she dreamed about the old house every night.
That's kind of odd, if I'm honest. But yeah, we are actually at the moment taking a break from Dark Souls 2 for a multitude of reasons, one of which being that I'm having issues with it registering my controller. Can I take the lantern? Doesn't seem
Edie's
so.
side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Gregory Finch, Sam Finch, Gus Finch. Milton.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
My controller's fine. It's because Dark Souls 2 registers the first analog device as a controller. My mouse has analog inputs. So it always registers my mouse first, and then it refuses to register my controller. It's annoying, but I can fix it. Not even a treehouse, it's just a balcony.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
That's the first time you find out about that, by the way. Climbing and crawling. There's been so much of both.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Imagine having to break into your old,
They were
old
both pretty
house.
intense.
Wow. You know, I'd love to have a little thing like that.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
I don't want to click that. That's... I want to investigate first. Airline tickets,
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
That is a bit odd. Can I close the door? No. She leaves doors open a lot. He kind of looks, like, damn it. It was a character, I think.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
What?
Perfect.
Okay. It took me a second to figure out the
It's gonna rain the whole
controls.
weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
There's a picture here somewhere that it wants me to take, and I don't know what it is. Yeah, legitimately, right now there's a picture somewhere that it wants me to take, and I'm just having trouble identifying what it is. Finally! I found you, you bastard!
Aw.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take...
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip.
But Calvin died, didn't he?
You're gone. Don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
There's a bird here somewhere.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn on. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so...
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Oh. That's...
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Yeah. That's actually the most normal story so far. There was no one who was super crazy or anything. It was just a story of an accident that happened on a hunting trip. There it is. Like, I get not getting over it and not wanting to speak about it too much, but there comes a point where you need to accept that that you should tell your children how their grandfather died. But at the same time, I can understand not wanting to tell it.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
I don't get it. This looks like a baby gate. It was a baby gate. Okay. That's interesting. Wow, that's creepy looking. That's horrifying. Gregory. Imagine having all your stuff kept in a locker. Dawn, sweep trash. Gus, mop and mow yard. Greg, be a baby. Okay. Before we continue anywhere.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Okay, so we're playing as a baby in the bathtub. Oh!
Bend over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
Okay.
Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
I'm slightly
It
curious.
reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
Okay, so
I know how silly it sounds.
oh,
That I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. Hey, there's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault.
I'd say this is the big
Sure.
issue with bathtubs that have
He'd
the
want
ceiling glass
to be
door.
happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
But he was short enough, even if the glass door hadn't been there, that he likely would have drowned anyways. Gus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Whoa. If someone could have this much control over a
I tried
kite,
to
that'd
talk
be
him
amazing.
out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
Now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Imagine your wedding turning into the day your son died, instead of a happy day.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Oh. So I thought, because that statue was fallen over in the present time, so I thought that it fell over and killed him. For the wind having picked up, my kite's not moving as fast. This is the... oh, right here is where I'm supposed to go.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Huh. So...
the thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
that's not the best choice. Oh, so he is crushed by the statue, okay. That...
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
I'm not a big fan of the idea of giving your children the names of dead relatives. Like,
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
I
At the time,
was never fine
it was
of
as far away as she could get.
But her being pregnant explains why we can't sprint either. That's
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
That's a name. That's actually one of the most interesting names I've seen
My
so
mom
far.
moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Milton. Lewis.
And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
This looks like it's supposed to be a
But
school.
it didn't last.
Hey, yeah, this looks like it's supposed to be like for homeschooling. I don't have much of an opinion on homeschooling.
The beginning
Bad or
of the
good?
end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
A castle. Castle in the sky. So I came all the way around to investigate if there was something on the other side, and now I have to walk the way back. Milton, 1992.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
It's going to be difficult to get down from here. Oh, okay, so it's got a mechanism that makes things easy. I don't remember when, what age they said he disappeared at, so... Actually, I don't think they ever mentioned what age he disappeared at.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
I was hoping if I stopped that it would stop on the page that I was on. So he painted a door. And the door became real. So...
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
But sealing the doors isn't a solution. It's not even a... it's...
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Oh, so we can't go up this way. Okay. Lewis, 1988 to 2010.
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Yeah, that's always a feeling. But imagine having your bedroom 4 floors up and you have to go across a bridge outside. There is no way you would ever walk around the house in pajamas or naked, especially in the winter, when you have to put a jacket on just to get to the dining room table. Like, the winter of Washington State.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
The man was a gamer, I see. Or the content creator. Nope, he was a gamer. WASD. He also smoked. But he didn't bother with a desk chair. But that's fine. Yep. Okay, so that's the correct way to go, so... Everyone in this house has such an interesting room.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
wander.
wander. I asked him to describe it.
Okay.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Oh,
Then something
no.
moved. Bats. And toads.
As someone who's just doing this on right now for
And things
via
that have not names.
things that have not names. As someone who's just doing this, like, I can understand if he gets his hand cut off.
He knew it was all in his head.
Because
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
hopes mean nothing.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
You really shouldn't have. Tireless, methodical, and focused is not...
I even encouraged him.
Oh, no.
It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
In his head.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
I can understand someone who's in their own head all day being bad at this.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something.
Okay.
Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. but his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor.
And made himself mayor.
And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville.
New Louisville, huh?
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Yeah. It's one thing to have something imaginary to do while doing pretty basic work.
Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
So, up until now, he's kept the blade in focus. He's kept the blades and the fish in focused.
Handsome queen.
I have no idea what I just did.
The queen was on her own quest for
sinister serpents.
Sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her silver harp.
Yeah, harp feels like it fits better in the situation. But yeah, up until now, he's been keeping the blade and the fish in focus, but that doesn't seem like it's gonna keep up. I feel like eventually he's gonna let slip, and
his chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Oh no.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Now it's just the fish in focus. Now we're going full.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
So now it's just the fish.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
But no, I don't even think he's gonna just get his hand chopped off. Something else is gonna happen.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
I can understand why, but
began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
You really...
The palace would be packed with his companions.
So it went from 2D to 3D to third-person 3D. Now we're first-person. Oh no.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Don't tell me. Because we were just on a conveyor belt, right? Don't tell me. Did he put himself through the machine? No.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
No.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
No. So, he got so wrapped. He was even encouraged to get wrapped up in his imaginary.
My mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day. But I understand why we left.
Was this your room or Edie's? Because considering it has a full kitchen, I'd suspect it's Edie's, but...
My mom ended up leaving everything
No, this
behind.
is your... Or is this your mother's?
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
So this is our room. This is Edith's room. Edith Jr., that is. I feel so much shorter. We are. No, we're not. Edith Finch.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper when she said,
to our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
So, this is us entering the library.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
History of the Finches by
Dear
Edith Finch.
Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful.
Yeah.
No, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around.
This isn't the old house, is it?
For a while, I wandered.
Okay, so I'm following the words, by the way. If the words
I
turn me.
started seeing things.
Dear.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
So far, this has been stories of the last nights of their lives, the last days. So,
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
I don't
Until
want
I
to
found
say
out
too
about you.
much.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it.
I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
The story of the last days of their lives. For Shirley Dallas, 1948 to 2013. I can't say at what point I figured out that Edith was dead. But I also can't say it was a surprise there in the end. The hands at the beginning of the game were too small. My rule stands especially for this game. I will let the credits run. Because for a game like this, the credits are a bit more than just the credit to the people who made the game. I do wish that we had gotten to read the rest of the story about the day that that Edith Jr. was born. But I can understand that why we didn't. This game is phenomenal. And I'm honestly glad I got the chance to play it. I had a suspicion from the beginning, and then it was sort of questioned when I found out that there were two Ediths. Because the name gives it away that this is the last story of one of them. I just didn't know which Edith it was the last story of. I don't have much to say other than what I've already said. So do I. Like... 2012 to 2017. I assume that's the time frame at which they worked on it. The end. So now you could replay any of the stories at the end. But I don't think there's a point in replaying them too many times. I've still never played Myst. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed in any way, leave a like down below. If you want to see me play another game, to experience another game such as this one or any other, whether it be horror, RTS, any genre, essentially, subscribe for more content from me. And make sure to turn on notifications. To those who are watching after the fact, you may not have been able to participate in the live stream and put what you thought as things were going on, but you can always put a comment down below detailing what you thought of this journey. And I do hope to see you all next time. Goodbye, guys.